Hello, everyone. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome to yet another challenge in Living World of Darkness, Rage Across New York. It's actually not another challenge. It's still the same challenge. We're still in Kenya. We're no longer near Mount Kilimanjaro. We're now actually at the foot of Mount Kilimanjaro. Um, at this foot, in sort of a hidden grove kind of thing, there's an open space. And in this open space, a couple of Garu are gathered. Um, and they are sitting, well, one of them at least is sitting, probably three, um, across someone, well, actually, three, four individuals, uh, three of them standing. It is.
Smart.
Shut up. It is.
Smart.
Seriously, did I fuck up my. Am I gonna start over again with this scene? It is. Never mind. Whatever.
No, it's in Tanzania.
It's in Tanzania. I thought it was like on the border. Ah, well, whatever.
Let me check.
I should have checked my map. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Um, we are in Africa. We're at Mount Kilimanjaro, at the foot. There are three, four, God damn it, people across the Karoo. Three of them are standing. One of those three, sort of hiding away in the bushes, just seems to be waiting. Uh, which is Itoro. The other two are standing side by side. A little bit of space in between them, actually, not really side by side. And on the ground in between them is a man sitting, um, and he sits opposite a certain Garu. Who is about to share his story with this individual, I believe. So that's where we left off last time, which was a little bit of a weird ending of the scene with things freezing around us.
You might be wondering how I got here. Well, I'm Jacob Clay, and here's my story. Jacob's here to start Ragnarok. Uh,
So Kigaro will just Kigara? What did I call this guy?
Kagiso.
Kagiso. God damn it! I can't even
I know,
remember
I
my
know
own
your NPC is
NPCs.
better than you do.
You do, you do. It's terrible. So Kagiso will sit opposite Jacob. Will just look at him. He's never actually looking away. He's always focused on you. Um, and yeah, he's got a smile on his lips as he's seems to be almost friendly, asking, "So what has brought you to the foot of this mountain?"
Challenge from my king. Wanted me to retrieve the item that everybody else here is also so focused about.
You are actually right, by the way. Kilimanjaro is not in Kenya. I've been saying this wrong the entire challenge, and I do deeply apologize for not having my topography in check.
I apologize to Kenyans. You don't have best mountain.
Wow. Wow.
Hashtag
But
best mountain.
Kakizo is just, continuing to look.
He's just looking that smug because he has best mountain.
He's looking extremely smug.
Smug boy. Um, but yeah, no, that's what Jacob says. It's the harp. It was used by one of our former kings in the 1800s. A man called Isaiah Morningkill used it to um, unite the Trizahar people back then. That was what was the name of the band called again? OC, the Storm,
Storm.
the big Storm Bane that is Eye-bound.
Yeah, the storm. Fuck,
Storm.
I know this.
I know. Why can't
Yeah, right. When we find it, it's like, oh right, that dude, Storm, Storm Eater.
Stormy though?
Wow.
You know, in which case Jake will just say he used it to bring together our tribes. A bane that threatened, well, the entirety of America, called the Storm Eater, had awoken. He used it to bring everybody together so they could stop it. He ultimately sacrificed himself to bind it, alongside 12 other Garu. The item in question had remained within my tribe's custody for some time until, well, it went missing a few years after, stolen. The perpetrators were never found, but, well, we're still figuring out how it wound up here. In fact, that's, well, that's precisely why I'm here.
You are
I've heard
here to figure out why the harp is here. And that is all you desire, to figure out why it's here.
I've been ordered to retrieve it. I mean, I would much prefer to figure out why it's here. It's something of an enormous mystery. At least to us. I've been collecting some stories and information on it. I've been told a very old spirit placed it here.
So then you know why it's here. Because the spirit placed it here.
I don't know why the spirit placed it here, though. Only I know how it made its way here, not why.
And why does it matter?
Because if a spirit placed it here, there was probably a reason that spirit did so.
And why does that matter, I ask you again?
Because this harp is the center of constant years-long interscene conflict. I figured we'd, well, I figured there'd at least be a passing curiosity to know why the item that has caused such bloodshed is here. I would certainly know if I'd been fighting here for years to know why this had all come to pass.
Do
Are
you look
you
every gives a horse in the mouth?
sorry, what does he say?
Do you want to know everything behind every gift you've ever gotten? Do you always want to know why?
Most of the time I can simply infer, but that's not one of these situations. You I assume you know what it does.
I know it is an item of importance to us.
The harp is drawing Gaian spirits to this location. A lot of them. Uh, the harp is something of a safe harbor for them. Seems to generate something of a shield over this place. It's why the worm is so weak here. It's why I'm concerned about the harp, because if it were ever to be removed, of course, that would cause a lot of issues for you.
He kind of steeps his fingers. Just waits for you to continue.
I'm actually wait, he'll actually recompose himself. I remember when I first came across the moon bridge from the abandoned cairn. You can't just look off in the direction where the cairn is, but it's obviously not an eyesight.
Mm-hmm.
We actually saw some blood veins there. They were withered and weakened. It weakens. It seems to weaken wormtail or wormish entities and empower Gaian spirits. But it also seems to have
Sorry,
other
husband is
effects.
leaving for work.
Pardon?
Husband was leaving for work, so
That's fine.
other effects, you say?
It's why I wanted to know a bit more about Climbs the Mountain, because from what I've heard, him interacting with it seemed to have driven him into a trance or even into madness.
We do not speak of him. A betrayer betrayed, and he given up his right to be mentioned by us.
Okay, then the person. The whatever label needs to be described instead, but
We do not speak of him, period.
okay.
Why would I repeat his filthy story to you? His history does not need to pass my lips. He would best be forgotten.
Which is interesting because he vanished shortly after returning to us.
Good.
But when he came back, he was talking, just repeating how it was always meant for 13 to become one. It was a repeated line. Again, that's why I say he was in a trance. And that lines up with the story from my tribe, how Isaiah used it to unite all 13 tribes.
And what is the point that you're trying to make here?
One is for you to understand why I'm here, and so you know I'm not lying to you. I'm not trying to deceive you.
You couldn't if you tried.
Oh, well, that's actually good. That's actually quite helpful. The other is to convey why this harp is of importance to us, because, or at least to me, because I don't think anyone's actually that. I mean, it's what hasn't exactly been a great deal of communication. The harp does have legitimate ancestral meaning to me and my tribe, and has been used to bring all of the Garu together to defeat
So
a
does
threat
that
that.
give you the right to just take it back? Is that what you are implying?
That's actually what I want to find out. Because if we do, and again, if, why is it here? Why is it halfway across the world? Why did a spirit place it here, specifically here?
Perhaps because we were more worthy. By the way, if you want to, you can roll a peony on this.
Yeah, Jacob will. Ba, 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 da, ba, ba, da, ba, da, ba. Does Eye of the Falcon help here?
Sure. I mean, it gives you a bit -1 on perception base, so you
How
know
much?
it is perception alertness. I mean, it's based on eyesight, but yes, this is.
This is part 5.
Manipulation.
Attentive specialty. Doing all the things. Oh wow, yeah. Jacob has 6 successes.
Okay. Roll his dice. See how well he does. Oh. That's up.
Oh wow, he rolled incredibly well.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 as well. So, since especially with these things, I don't really do stalemates. I will give you something.
Oh, actually, as Lion, because this is no, it's a perception test, not a. Well, I guess it's a social contest. One sec,
I mean, yes, it's definitely a social
because
contest.
I can use Lion to spend a Gnosis and win,
Okay,
and that will give me insight.
it would definitely.
Let me double check. Just gonna get line up specifically across the world. Lion Bro. Here's Lion Bro. Um,
Best lion.
Additionally, on any contested roll using a social attribute. Well, I'm not using a social attribute.
Hmm.
Well, I guess it doesn't really imply if you're using it or somebody else is using it. To be fair, that doesn't really matter. A follower of
I'm
line wins on
I'm
any.
fine. You can call this a social because I feel this is very much a social still like
Okay,
standoff. So
yeah. I just
it's
need
fine.
to spend a point of gnosis basically,
Mm-hmm.
and
Because
then
like you said, like the most things with social things is, I mean, unless it's like intimidation or something, but I would count this as a social thing.
okay,
You can pick it up with the other STs to have an official ruling on it, since officially I'm no longer ST, just a narrator. But for now, I'm gonna allow you to use it like this.
okay. Thank you. Um, But yeah, also kind of ironic that Lion's power is allowing me to get one up over December. Hmm, that is pretty spicy.
Well, it's definitely something.
But yeah, he wins. Hooray.
Okay. So what he can tell with the insight that Lion is giving in this situation, um, is that Kagiso is he seems to be testing you somewhat. So it's almost like he gave you he was insulting you. Whether you take it as an insult is also interesting to him. But it's like he is trying to insult you to see how you would react to that because he's had probably some dealings with Garou and he's definitely heard stories about Garou and how they react and how barbaric they are. So it seems like he is testing you in some form by deliberately giving not too major insults. It's nothing personal, but you know.
Jacob does what Jacob does and tries to just not bury, but just sort of deal with it in a level-headed fashion. And
Does he feel slighted or insulted or?
I mean, it's clearly a slight, but because obviously, outright staying more worthy than you, particularly after, or inferring it, not outright saying it, but inferring it after the very sort of passive aggressive behavior from everybody else, kind of makes it somewhat. It's a somewhat obvious inference to make, but Jacob has kind of been in this situation before. It doesn't really phase him too much. He's dealt with far more like
Would you
intense
just roll
individuals
me
than this.
your manipulation subterfuge for this? Just
Sure.
to make sure that's you may substitute manipulation for appearance, whichever one is higher,
I don't think
just to
either
keep
one
that
is higher
face
than the
nice
other.
and straight.
Keep that face nice and straight. Jacob is actually terrible manipulation. Let's see. He has 4 dice total.
Well,
Okay, I guess a single success. Wooloo be praised for the 1 success on the 4 dice roll.
let's see how his perception empathy will go on that.
It's okay. Wooloo's like, I got this. Okay, well, he sees that Jacob's a bit, that kind of. I wouldn't say he's insulted. I think a better
Disgust,
word is slightly taken
annoyed.
aback, but
Hmm.
not particularly. Yeah, because I think slightly taken aback is perhaps the most accurate way to say it. Like it's
Hmm.
clearly Jacob's like really, but other than that, it's sort of
Hmm.
something he responds to a bit like with like mild irritants or an eye roll.
Hmm.
It's like, oh, here we go again, sort of thing. It's like, yeah,
You
it's.
actually see the corners of his mouth kind of twist up ever so slightly.
But Jacob will just say, potentially, but ultimately, no one knew the intent of the individual who placed it here, so we don't actually know. That's why I want to find out. As I said, the possibility is entirely there. I'm open to it. I'm not a Garu who thinks that for whatever reason we are inherently superior. That's never been my particular belief or paradigm.
And you thought that saving Itoro would get you into our good graces.
I thought it would help.
Mm. It is why we are talking now and not fighting. So tell me, Jacob, why would we allow you onto our mountain? Hmm?
Jacob considers this carefully. Because there's 3 things he could do. I wonder if I could make a roll for this, actually. Do you think the roll for this would this be a political roll?
What are you trying to do?
He's trying to consider a reason that would be. Oh. Oh, yeah, Garu don't have politics. That's really funny. Uh, um, yeah, because they replace it with all those other stats like rituals. Yeah, I like rituals. um, and enigmas. I completely forgot about that. He's trying to consider a reason that would be compelling without just saying, because lion says so. Manifest. um. Although he is half. If I guess he's just trying to gauge whether that is. He's effectively trying to gauge what is and what is not flagrantly insulting to say. Um. And what will perhaps be the most compelling reason given what he knows, because there is the matter of a truth, but so far it appears that nobody on either side really gives a fuck about the truth. Which is concerning.
I mean, are you sure?
I mean, Jacob would be interested in knowing, and also that does give him leverage diplomatically, because he's like, well, I can put the issue to bed, and if we are not, then they have to make peace with you, and if they don't, we'll the girl have to make peace with you, and if they don't, I mean, well, I guess I'll just have to help you fend them off. Because I am a man of my word, and you totally have not been betrayed by a Garo in the past. No, sir, you should trust me. Uh, um, and also because, or because lion, I choose you. Throws Pokeball. Uh, Go Arcanine. Um, but yeah, that's what he's trying to figure out, basically. What would perhaps be most reasonable statement, given what he knows?
And you want me to tell you this?
Um.
Like, okay.
Okay.
I
What?
was
No.
looking
No.
at
No.
your sheet.
No. 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 I think what would be fairer to say would be, what should I not do? Given the options that I have currently.
Mm, roll me intelligence. And looking at your specialty, I would almost say you do have a very high uh, dice pool for this, but I feel it would fit. Roll me intelligence leadership. And I'm
Ooh.
saying leadership specifically because of your specialty. Because ultimately, this is a battle. Basically, it's just a
Okay.
battle of words, and you can use tactics in it.
Okay. I get at least 7 successes, potentially 9.
Well, I mean, your specialties will come into play because I specifically picked the stats for the specialties that apply to, like, the thing. So that is really good. That is a really good roll. Wow. Um, okay.
It's probably the
I was
one
actually
roll which
gonna
I
set the
really needed to be
difficulty.
good.
I was gonna set the difficulty a bit higher because you don't actually know. You don't have any like Simba lore or Bastard lore. Um,
we can remove like the 2 successes from the 6, which should bring
but
it down to
still,
7.
like, yeah, I was looking at it. Still, even then, you would have a lot of successes. Like, even if I were to make it div 8, you still have a ton of successes. So, because you would still have 6. So, Well, what you know, and especially because you also have lion as a totem, is that Simba are really proud. Um, so what you shouldn't do is try to be better than they are. What you should do is try to find equality in one way or another. Um, because ultimately they will not negotiate with you when they think or feel that you're below them, or when they think and feel that you think and feel that you're above them.
Okay.
Also, so far, what you've heard from the pack was not that they were talking with anyone except one person. So you definitely are at this point viewed by them as at least potentially benevolent instead of an immediate threat, which is how they view most Garou, because obviously. Um, yeah, I think that's
Okay.
pretty useful information that I could give you with that amount of successes.
Mm.
I still make it like, a little bit of a, hey, this is your problem now.
Sounds like a me problem. Oh no! Oh no! I don't like me
I
problems.
mean, I would like to point out that this is an Athro challenge.
It's one
It's
giant
a
me problem.
Philodox. It's a Philodox Athro challenge.
um. Yeah. No, this is a pretty difficult situation because he has to find equality in what is effectively a zero-sum trade. Um.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, that helps either staying or leaving, which means there's a winner or a loser in terms of the item. Um. And that makes finding equality particularly tricky. Um. So it'd have to be down to, I think it would come less, maybe the process should be depicted as fair then, because
Maybe I will give you one more clue to maybe, step in the right direction. He didn't say anything about you taking the harp. He said, "Why would we allow you onto our mountain?"
that's true.
Which is, ultimately a different thing from taking the harp or leaving
This
it.
is this is actually true. That's some careful wording. You sure he's
Thank
not a
you.
changeling? Fucking contracts for bullshit right there.
I mean, there's definitely a reason behind why he said that, but that's neither here nor there. This has been definitely enough hints for your amount of successes now.
Yeah, that's true. No, I demand 9 hints, God damn it.
He likes purple. Maybe you should flash your purple shirt at him. There.
Don't spit in his eye, claw his face, kick his face, punch his
Right?
fists, headbutt him.
Use your clave.
Use your clave.
Shoot him.
Use your gun. Use your
Try and
taser.
kidnap him. There you
Or
go. We're
try and
getting
kidnap
there.
him. To be fair, Ulysses gave us a
To be
free
fair,
pass on that one.
kidnapping him might also be a way to get up the mountain. I'm just not quite sure if it's the way that you want to go, but you're definitely like you can use
I mean,
force.
to be fair, I could murder hobo my way up the mountain. I'd just rather not.
You could definitely murder the hobo your way up to the mountain, or you could attempt to.
I mean, I could. Yeah, it'd
It
be
is.
interesting.
I mean, you're a Garou. Murder is always optional.
Murder is
Like
always an option. It
you
is
do not
always on
need
the
9
table.
successes on problem solving and tactician to know that murder is always optional when you're a Garou. You're
Yeah.
completely justified to murder because
Ah,
Garou, yo.
the divine right of murder. Gotta love it. Um, Um, God damn it. Still unsure. In I have my answer. I'm just unsure if it's correct. I guess I should just say it.
I mean, it's only your after challenge that hangs in the balance of it. No pressure.
Okay.
Oh, and things are falling again. God damn it.
Yeah, in which case, Jacob's going to say because I can find out the truth.
The truth. About.
About this harp, this war, you, Howard, and how and why it all ties together. Because the truth will
And
definitively put this issue to bed.
hmm,
It will. If we discover why this harp is here, regardless of the outcome, the fighting will have to stop because either one of our claims will be validated.
and what if the other party would not wish to give up their claim?
Jacob kind of sighs, kind of a sad sigh, because he kind of acknowledges a rather grim possibility of that. And I'm going to have to hold them accountable for that. Which I'm not going to enjoy. I'm not going to ignore the will of the spirits either.
You would slay us. I can see that. Or you would attempt to. But would you be willing to slay those who make claim on your side? Did you not mention a king? Would you be willing to slay your king over this? He actually looks curious. It's like, he has now never taken his eyes away or off of you. Now he seems to be piercing through you. And you feel something akin to. Actually, it's almost a familiar feel. Akin to your truth of Gaia being used to you.
No, I would return to my king, explain that spirits have deemed us unworthy of wielding an artifact that was once ours, and I'd be held accountable for that decision.
And if he sends armies out to get us, what would we be getting out of that? A few packs like these we could handle. I doubt we can handle the entirety of the Garo nation. Although, rest assured, we will try and we will take many with us as we go.
That's true. But if our king wished to send armies here, they would have done so already, and nothing I'm going to say or do would actually change that. I would not be able to reasonably change that. If armies were to
Perhaps.
head this way, honestly, your best bet would be to remove yourselves on the heart from the situation, tactically speaking. But that's not something I have the power to alter.
So, what you're saying is that if you think that you are right, we should just give up our claim or be killed. Yet if you say that we are right and it belongs to us now, that we will still be killed.
No, I'm saying if your claim is validated, Garof's place will have to make peace or leave. Because there is actually a place the Garu of this region can make their own. It's where I landed. It's how I got here. Um, if they continued to attack this place, I'm going to resolve that personally. Because I stay true to my word. And I wouldn't let others break it. because ultimately, whether they like it or not, I am the greatest authority here right now from my people.
Kagiso seems to think.
And then Jacob will simply say, partially to sort of lighten the tone, and if my king, for whatever reason, I doubt he would, but to account for the possibility, if he did decide to break my words and wage war on all of you, then at least I could say I died trying. Unfortunately, I can't say I have authority over my king. But in that situation, as I said, little that either of us could do in that situation.
He seems to ignore your joke altogether.
That's fair.
And then he just sort of silently nods as if he makes up his mind. You can pick two to walk with you. You are to leave behind any and all weapons. And you are to follow our exact instructions.
Understood. Jacob seriously considers for a moment who he's going to take with him. The choice is initially obvious, but then again, leaving Stingray anywhere unattended in this situation is a risk.
I mean, Stingray seems to mostly be very close to Nukiko,
Okay.
like hovering sort of over behind her, looking. He's he doesn't look as angry anymore as he did before. Um,
Helpful.
he's still glaring at the Simba though, like.
Okay. Jacob does carefully consider, because there's a lot of things to consider. There's the risk that Stingray goes off on one, either with or without us. If he's Nukiko, probably not, because he wouldn't want to put Nukiko at more risk, and Nukiko doesn't want to fight. You did the edge, because this involves the spirits in some sense, and we got two.
Mm-hmm.
And one is Ilya,
Mm-hmm.
and one is Weaves the Fates.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just going to check something, a gift I have, because I may as well make use of all my tools on an Afro challenge. Um, okay. Okay, now it requires me to spend a notice, which I'm not willing to do because that will put me down fairly low. Hmm. Jacob was going to gauge Tiana. Because it's either Ilya or Tiona weaves the fates.
Mm-hmm. She's been standing within earshot, listening along.
Okay.
She still seems fairly calm.
Okay. In which case, Jacob will take. Actually, I know what he's going to do. Because Ilya and James both make sense to this.
Mm-hmm.
Because, hey, this is going to be a story. Regardless. So Galliard should probably be there. And Ilya's probably going to be helpful. I mean, Ilya's going to be very helpful, regardless, because she's a Fiach. So what Jacob will do, he'll just say understood to Higaso.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, sorry, Kagiso. I got the
Kagis.
name wrong. Yeah. My bad. First time I got that name wrong. 99% perfect run. Yeah, what he'll do is he'll just say understood. And he'll do is he'll hand his clave to Tiona. And
She will take it, but she'll wrap her, like her flowing dress, sort of around her hands before she will actually take hold of it.
look after this for me.
And yeah, she'll nod.
Jacob will just say, Ilya, James.
Yes, Raya, they will say in unison.
Of course they do.
Of course they do.
They're so cute. Um, you're both coming with me.
They look a bit surprised, but they'll nod. James will say, actually, as you wish, Raya.
Hmm. They both look surprised.
James a little bit more than Ilya, probably.
Ilya's like, I totally knew I was gonna get picked. Obviously,
uh,
it's not there's another Fiat here. I'm fine.
Or maybe she's just better at hiding surprise, or maybe she just
Yeah.
doesn't care. Who knows? So yeah, they will hand over their weapons to Tiana, who will place everything uh, in the car.
It's like a
And
cozy
there's the
place for a clave to
guns
be.
and.
Well, if I die, they can at least say I've got a new clave now.
Oh yes. And yeah, flanked once more by Ilya and James, you can walk forward. Ilya and James will be grabbed by the two more silent figures. Um, you're being left standing there for a bit, although Kakizo and Itoro are like, just looking. Although Itoro is like standing uh like underneath the trees. And they will blindfold uh both of them. Actually, uh tie their hands as well, but like, a loose sort of knot so that they can actually move their hands around. They're tying them in front of their body and leave some room so that if necessary they can catch themselves, or they could like do stuff just to make it harder to, like, if they would attack, to actually attack. And they'll do the same with you, but they will only blindfold you. They will not actually tie your hands.
Okay. I assume I can't see through the blindfold even with I have the Falcon active.
Mm, you know what? Roll me perception alertness difficulty 10. If you get a 10, you will be able to see shapes.
Yeah, it's not that Jacob's trying, it's more just kind of a matter of clarification.
Yeah.
No, I botched. Nothing.
I mean, yeah, you don't see anything. Really, nothing. It's just,
Yeah.
you know. So they will start leading you. Um, you'd actually hear in the distance Nukiko making like a surprised sound. You can hear her asking where you guys are going, why you're being bound, and should they go after you, and things like that. Um, she's speaking rather loudly. This is why you can actually hear it for a little bit, because the Simba and James and Ilya are actually not saying anything. Um, you can't really understand what Tiana is answering, but you do hear her kind of calmly starting to explain stuff before their voices are sort of whipped away by the winds. Um, you get the feeling you're moving up. You're not
Okay.
quite sure for how long. It feels like a long time. You can roll me your, yeah, roll me perception survival.
Okay. Survival. Death 6.
Um, I'll make it 7, but your specialty of attentive will come into play. I'll make it 7 because, of course, you don't have your eyes, so you have to focus on the other senses, and that always takes some time getting attuned to.
Oh, +2, -1. Is that what it was?
Basically, yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah,
Okay, I got 4 successes.
very nice. Okay, so what you notice is you're most of the time going up, but sometimes you are going down. Um, most of the time you're going left and right, but at some point you actually get the feeling that you're turning around, and it's almost like like you can tell with 4 successes. You manage to have a vague idea of where the other Garu are in like comparison to where you are. Like you would be able to find your way back probably with like with some time to orientate yourself. Yeah. But you also get the distinct feeling that they're deliberately making you walk into circles from time to time.
Yeah.
Like they are sometimes going down where you feel like, okay, but we just took two left turns, so we're basically walking back. And then later on, you take two rights again and you go up. And sometimes you have the feeling that you have actually you would reach a place that you've already crossed. It takes actually, you would say, with your perception survival, you have the feeling that you're walking for 2 hours,
Okay.
but it would have been substantially different. First of all, you're going slower, of course, because people's hands are bound and they can't see, so they have to literally be guided. And second of all, yeah, you could have gotten here a lot shorter if they would have actually stuck to the roads. That's the easiest road, the fastest road. They did not take that. Mm, from time to time, you hear James and Ilya kind of stumble next to you. You stumble a few times yourself, but there's always hands to catch you. Like when it comes to that, they're actually rather careful about it. You do notice that James start to mutter a little bit. He seems to be getting a bit annoyed about this. And actually, at some point, you hear Ilya stumble, and there is a string of curses. So they start to feel a little bit annoyed about the fact that they are Silverfang and they're bound and tied.
Jacob's still mind linked to them, right?
Yes, actually,
Okay.
you are. You can definitely sense their growing annoyance at this. Even though they understand, it still feels a little bit like humiliation to them.
Yeah, it feels a little bit like
Like
Hagen.
they're being a prisoner now, where they have done nothing to deserve being captive, and mm, it's like with James, there's a little bit of arrogance, even like he definitely has most of the "I am a Silverfang, how dare you treat me like this" going on. With Ilya, there is more a
Please don't
I
throw me
wouldn't
through the
call it.
moon door.
Hmm?
A little bit more of a, oh god, I hope they're not about to push me through the moon door.
No, but well, like a sense of warning. It's not fear that she's feeling, but more of an unease that is slowly growing, as if she's been afraid of an experience like this. And I'm saying way too much because it really doesn't matter. But yeah. So it's not like, oh my god, I've been in similar situations like this in the past. It's more like this is something that she might have been afraid of. So she feels very uneasy with this. But yeah, you do sense them through the pack link. You notice that James by now has a bruise on his knee, um, and Ilya has some cut on her arm where a branch kind of cut into it.
Mm.
Nothing major, just tiny annoyances and nuisances. But yeah, you're being led on if you don't. I mean, I'm not sure why you asked for like the pack link thing, but.
Just, trying to reassure them. Pretty much it.
Okay, now if you do that, you do, especially with James, you feel the annoyance sort of slowly lower a little bit. He's still on edge, but it's nothing too bad. And yeah, at some point you start to hear water streaming. Starts to get louder and louder, and you have the feeling that it starts to get a little cooler. And yeah, you finally get seated down.
Okay. Jacob sits down. He sat down.
He is now sat down. Yes. Oh, yeah, things are working. God damn it. Make them work. You hear, as you're blindfolded, you actually hear Itoro making more cat-like sounds. Um,
Purr.
yeah, it's like she is purring in a strange way. Uh, and you hear two male voices, one of which you recognize as Kakizo, who are whispering to each other.
Who's sorry?
Kagiso and a voice that you don't recognize are seem to be whispering to each other.
Oh,
Mm. You notice that James is going to activate his heightened senses, and
okay.
he's going to try and listen in, because you know whispers.
Yep, that's purely internal.
Mm?
It has no tell.
He doesn't hear fuck.
Lol.
Yeah, his frustration and suspicion starts to rise again. Uh, until Ilya is like, actually rather abruptly, especially for her way of how you felt her so far through like the mind speech, but also like how you've seen her in general. She just kind of bites through the mind link at James, like, shut up. Keep a
Oof.
cool head. Yeah, like even he feels a bit surprised at that. And yeah, um, then after a while the whispering stops, and your blindfold will slowly taken off, and you'll see this guy. Hello.
Hello.
Who is standing next to Kakizo, and they both look at you. Um, no one is actually attempting to remove James or Ilya's blindfolds. You see Itoro standing actually next to this guy. She seems to be holding a part of his fabric almost, and he has like his hand on her shoulder. And
Okay.
he'll look at you. You are the one that they called Jacob.
Yes, I am.
I see. My name is Adebayo. Not quite sure if I'm pronouncing it right again, but.
It's notes time. put that into the
Oh,
chat.
I'm working on it. I'm working on it. Angry typing intensifies. You know what? As the notes are being taken. Hi, everybody. This is now part 5 of Jacob's Challenge. We're playing in Living World of Darkness, Rage Across New York. This game is a, well, game that we do on Hangouts. Pretty much like you've seen. I mean, if you've made it this far into this, or even if you accidentally stumbled upon like a part 5 and you decided not to start at part 1 and be bored by now already. Um, yeah, we play scenes over Hangouts. We have a Discord in which we roll dice to determine the outcome and to role play along with it. It is a multi-venue thing that holds all different kind of spots of uh, World of Darkness. We use the mostly the 20th anniversary system, and we have a lot of fun. And can always use new and enthusiastic people to play along with us and have fun. So yeah, if you're interested, we have Facebook. Please find us at Living World of Darkness. And yeah, come and enjoy whatever you want, really.
This has been a PSA from your friendly LWoD ST.
Narrator.
Bleh.
Hmm. And the typing is still not done. Typing is still not done. As you look around, you notice that you're standing a little bit away from a waterfall. It's not as close as on this picture, but you can see it and hear it in the distance. It is a very sunny day. You're not that high up, which is surprising for the time that it took you to walk, but not as surprising as if you had failed your survival check. Um, yeah, it's rather green here. There's no trees, but still, the rocks around you are sort of situated that they form like almost a natural protection, so that you can't really see all that much of this place. The sun is shining inside, yet the air is a lot cooler here. There's a breeze, lots of shade, and yeah, there is, apart from Adebayo, there is, of course, Kakiso and Itoro, but also the two others are standing there. Still, you know, very close to James and Ilya.
Okay, I'm finally done.
Yes, you finally done? Okay.
Yep, and I'm gonna be making more in probably just 30 seconds, but carry on.
You know how much shorter our scenes would be if we didn't have to stop for your notes. But it's fine. I enjoy your notes.
I try to make my notes fun.
Yes, they are fun.
Yay.
As I said, my name is Adebayo. I am the look it up how I exactly wrote this down. I am the leader of the Guardians of the Twilight Chapel. He smiles. He actually looks extremely friendly.
So he says he's
Like,
Adebayo of the Twilight Chapel.
he is the leader of the Guardians of the Twilight Chapel.
Thank you.
You're welcome. My phone does bzz, bzz. I don't know why it does that, but it does that. Yeah, actually, yeah, like I said, there's a very, very friendly smile on his face as he looks at you. He very much has that, grandfather quality kind of hanging over him.
Okay.
He seems to exude trust.
Ah. Well, the last time someone exuded trust,
Mm.
they freaking scammed me.
Oh no, who would ever do such a thing?
A ratkin.
Oh no. This isn't no Ratkin though. It's just an old lion.
Shout outs to Robbie. You bastard. No, Jacob. Jacob. Jacob will smile in a friendly fashion, kind of reciprocating the friendliness, and you'll say, "A pleasure it is to meet you, Adebayo."
I will first say that I am very grateful that you brought Itoro back to us. She means a lot, and losing her was a tragedy of sorts.
Well, I'm glad to have done the service. I was not happy with the situation she was put in. It was the least I could do.
So, your feelings about this were purely altruistic?
Jacob actually kind of considers this for a moment. To be honest, by and large, I did, of course, recognize the pragmatic intent of it, but I was not content to keep it secret. It was neither ethical nor pragmatic. It was wrong. As simple as that.
Adebayo kind of looks over at Kakiso, who gives a very, very slow, almost invisible nod. It is good to hear that you are honest, and that you recognize that you also saw to a certain amount of profit that could be gained from this.
Well, if
So,
well, sorry, Jacob was just
now
going to
go
say
on.
if New York has taught me anything, it's a bit of pragmatism here and there.
New York. I see. You've come a far way then, Jacob Clay.
Yes, it's this journey has been an endless string of twists, I think is the best way to put it.
Mm. And he'll look over at the two silent bastards, and he'll just give them a nod. And at this point, they will start to remove the um, what are they called? Blindfolds of both James and Ilya.
Okay.
And you can see both of them, starting to blink a little bit because of the light returning into their eyes, and then uh, start to readjust and look around. Ilya, you can almost feel that Ilya is trying to find a reflexive surface that she kind of wants to look in at this point, but there's not really anything close by. And you are here because of our temple and the blessing it holds. Hmm. What do you hope to get out of it?
Jacob considers this again, in part because he feels like he's rewording
As Jacob stays silent for a long
oh,
time.
oh no, Jacob
Oh,
was actually
no?
just about to
Okay.
say some manner of understanding.
Hmm,
If
Not. If.
um I'm sure you're already aware of because well
I've heard your story, and I
hmm,
am very much aware of the conversation you had with Kakiso here.
I just do not wish to omit anything of importance.
I am more interested in you as a person. What do you intend to learn from this experience? How would you grow from it? What will you be taking home with you? What are your expectations in that? What are your hopes and dreams in that regard? I understand what your nation can take from it. I understand what your tribe can take from it. And I even understand what you would be able to take from it: glory, honor, prestige. But what do you really wish to take from this? How will this influence the Garu that I see here before me? How will it change him?
Jacob thinks again. Um, it's actually kind of a tricky question for him to answer because he hasn't really been thinking about himself that much on this mission. He's really been thinking about the greater implications, the implications for other people. He hasn't really been thinking about the implications for himself other than trying not to die.
Mm.
Just kind of surviving and doing what he feels he should be doing.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I mean, nothing is a totally valid answer if that's what you truly believe.
he'll Jacob will then simply say, I think it depends a little bit on what happens next. It'll either rise my hopes up or send them crashing down.
What are your hopes?
For the constant fighting within my people without of them to stop. And also to prove to myself that I can be an effective leader, because if I'm completely honest with myself, I haven't really had that opportunity.
Interesting. And he'll turn to Kakiso and says, "Yes, he is not like most Garu. Interesting. Hmm. Very idealistic, though. That might prove to be a problem."
It's
Kakiso
proven.
will actually look
J-
confused.
Jacob
Like,
will say
what?
it's proven a problem in New York. Wouldn't surprise me if it proved a problem here.
Hmm.
You'd be surprised how often it's worked out.
Ultimately, if you put your ideals in a high place, they might become stronger ideals. More people can share them with others. I can see what it is that you wish. Whether it works out, I do not know. I can see many things, but in the future, mm, I can only guess. The past, however, is pretty clear.
I'd like to think so.
For you, not yet. I've looked back on things many times. You are still young.
Fair enough.
You are right, though. War does not solve anything. It can be a temporary solution, but in the end, it will burn too hot. And I fear at some point it will be well, the end of us all.
That is my fear as well. It's kind of ironic. To my understanding, the purpose of my people are to be soldiers.
As would any army say.
It is just a shame how we direct ourselves, or are often so easily misdirected. But I suppose that is something that will be held to account for in the end. Or perhaps that is just me being lazy. After all, it is my job to account for other people.
Well, it may or may not surprise you, but your coming here does not come as a surprise. And he is actually gonna look at a place, um, like a path that leads away, that's been like leads away into the rocks downhill, and he'll just sort of gesture, and from this path, well, very familiar figure will walk up, and she smiles.
Hmm. I did not know it was possible to be unsurprised and surprised at the same time. But here you have me.
Her smile increases somewhat. The other Bastet, the other Simba, I should say, uh, except for Adebayo. All of them look shocked. Uh, the two warriors have like grabbed their spears. Uh, Kakiso is just kind of staring from Tiana to Adebayo and back. Um, Itoro just seems to not really know what to do.
Itoro can Itoro, it's fine.
uh, you feel like the mental surprise from Ilya and from James as well. James kind of even though through the mind link you can clearly hear that he's like lying, kind of hear say, "I knew something was wrong with her."
Through the mind link, Jacob just says, well, she called herself a Weaves the Fates and literally stated it was her destiny to be here, so I'm not all that surprised, to be honest. I mean, come on, James, that's a pretty big tell. He just says to James.
He shrugs and says, "Well, you could have fooled me." Adebayo will, just walk up to Tiana, where I can look in the past. She can look in the future. Together we see a lot of things.
I
We've
can
known each
imagine.
other for quite a long time. We haven't met, well, before a few months from now. Not in person. And Tiana will say, "I did see you coming to the mountain, Jacob Raya."
Well, you
We
weren't
know that your
wrong.
path leads to the harp. We know that your path leads to the harp, but whether you will reach your destination, that is up to you. If you have any questions before you go, feel free to ask them now. We will do our best to answer them. Sometimes we cannot, sometimes we will not, but you can ask them.
Okay. What will you all do if the harp is removed? The implications of it have been concerning me for a while now.
Yes. Hmm. There are many futures that this land can go, many ways that we can take. Not all of them can be influenced. So what will we do? Well, this land was here before the harp. This land will be here after the harp. If we will still be walking the lands, well, that remains to be seen. But ultimately, to take the harp or not, will be your decision.
Hmm. What about Stingray in his pack?
What
Obviously,
about him?
I'd like to think Stingray can put aside what was happened and make peace with everyone and himself, but
He is a rather troubled soul. Whether he makes peace with himself or not does not depend on your mission.
no.
He and his daughter are still welcome here. It is up to him to accept that. He will fight. Whether he stays here or whether he will go somewhere else, he will fight. His daughter, Nukiko, she will stay here.
Okay.
This place is the first where she feels at home, where she has been able to be herself with her talents and her problems. If peace can be found here, most likely there will be no need to sting.
So what was that last part?
If peace, if peace comes here, then there will be no reason to sting for the stingray. However, he got that name for a reason. If peace will come to these lands again, his unrest will drive him away. He has his own demons to battle. And at some point, his daughter will understand that she cannot be a part of his battle, although she has always been. But that she'll have to choose her own fate.
Okay. So, if I can ask, how do James and Ilya fit into all this? Kind of looks at them both.
They chose their own path. What they gain from walking this path, you will need to ask them. Theirs is not my story to tell.
What trials am I expected to face moving forward?
It's actually at this point that LWoD will take over.
Okay.
The harp. It is now guarded by many. Many spirits have flocked here. The trials that you'll have to face will be the trials of your own resolve. How you will face them, I do not know. It is different to everyone. Only once I've seen a Garu try and face these trials. My people do no longer wish to speak of him. You can definitely tell that the Simba are like the other Simba are like starting to shift a little bit uncomfortably.
Like,
Adebayo gives zero fucks
ew,
though.
traitor. Ew.
Mm-hmm. The one who called himself climbs the mountain. He figured he could climb further. To what end, I do not know. What trials he faced, I would not be able to tell you. But he came back without the harp, raving like a lunatic. His mind's been shattered in pieces, running in circles. We send him away like that. After all, the reason why he was going inside was not an honorable one. We had no reason to deal with him anymore, and no inclination to help him. He brought this upon himself. He faced his trials and failed, and his mind's shattered because of it.
Hmm. Do we know what the power of the harp really is, or what it does?
You already know what it does. Creates a safe haven. Although not necessarily a permanent. It is hard for the creatures of the destroyer to come close enough to attack it. Not impossible, but hard. Because of that, it can give all who fight the destroyer a place to rest. heal, to be at ease, talk without constant threats of war looming over their shoulder, rest for the first time in a lifetime for a warrior. Greatest gift to any army. But also the greatest lie.
Hmm. Will I be heading in alone, or will Ilya and James be accompanying me further?
That is for you to decide.
Hmm.
They are allowed to accompany you, yet each will have to face their own challenges.
Hmm. Jacob thinks on that. Kind of looks at Ilya and James.
James will speak up. Actually, crap, James, to make it a little bit more like, I'm a very good ST. I have all these pictures ready. Jacob Raya, we came here to follow you. If it's up to us, we would like to continue on our mission. We came here knowing that we would be facing things that, well, at least no Garu that I know of has ever seen. It would make for a great story. You can sense through the backlink that he's nervous, but he's hiding very well.
Hmm. Jacob Johan just kind of gestures as in like, I'm not gonna argue. But so I'm just trying to think of more questions. Um, Jacob will think. Um, any questions you think are obvious that I haven't asked?
Mm,
Could always
I
roll
mean,
for it.
you're asking me as an ST?
Yeah, I'm asking like if I've made a dumb, if I could roll to see if I've done a dumb. Don't think I have. I think I'm actually pretty good.
I think you're pretty good.
Oh, there is one last thing Jacob will ask because it's a mild curiosity
Hmm.
for him. You'd like to know. he just
Okay.
asks. He just asks Tiana, you wouldn't happen to still have my clay, would you?
She smiles and opens up the mantle, and in it you can kind of see the clave. She'll actually hand it back to you after just, a brief interaction, just a, look between herself and Adebayo. Um, and at that point, he will actually, uh, just gesture for the two guardians to release James and Ilya from their bonds. And Gianna will actually make another gesture. And a little awkward, um, Stingray and Akiko will also come from the same path that Tiana walked. They do not seem to be at ease at all, but they've come anyway. And as everybody's kind of like, there, Adebayo will just sort of spread out his hands and says, "The sun will be down soon. Let's have a pleasant evening." And he emphasizes the word pleasant as he looks at Stingray.
Oof.
There is enough food, and we have empty caves that you can sleep in.
You say that to
Stingray
him?
looks like he's about to protest. Hmm?
Oh, sorry, no, it's fine.
Adebayo
Yeah.
said there was plenty food and enough caves that you could rest in, you could sleep in. And yeah, Stingray looks like he's about to protest, and he's trying to work himself up, you know. But it's actually Nokiko who will, at this point, sort of, place her hand on his chest and is like shaking her head, like bleeding. And he won't look happy, but he will sort of calm down or stop getting worked up is probably the better way of saying it. So yeah, do you accept the invitation?
Jacob will.
Okay. Then the Simba are starting to prepare dinner. Fiona is actually helping them. They seem to be a little bit suspicious about that, but Adebayo is just looking at them, and they're like, "Okay, fine." It seems to be very uneasy and uncomfortable for a lot of people there. Um, but because of Adebayo and Tiana just basically acting like, I don't know why you're like being grumpy about this. Um, yeah, soon there is dinner, and the sleeping bags are being pulled from the car. Actually, it's Tiana and Stingray that will go down to get like the supplies from the car, because there's no way the car could have gotten up here. And I don't know if there's anything that you wish to do, anyone that you wish to talk to in the evening.
Hmm. You probably catch up with everybody. I mean, obviously, Ilya and James. Um, Jacob thinks he knows what Ilya's going to be facing in there. Um, Man, he was kind of way too on the money when he last talked to her. um, he'll probably talk to James because he'd like to get an idea of what maybe he's going to be facing. Um, but probably just catch up with everybody and maybe Tiana and Itoro. Definitely Itoro.
Midora seems to be actually much more cheerful and actually almost playful, like a young puppy. Well, puppy, kitten, perhaps a better word.
Little cub. Little lion
Yes.
cub.
Yep. Now that she's back in her like old habitat, her home, she's way more open. She smiles a lot and actually sort of like play fights with especially some of the other Bastards. And is eating a lot. Like you're surprised that someone of her like build can eat so much.
Oh. Well, Jacob will chat with her.
Hmm.
She's probably still gonna be mean, but it doesn't matter.
It's more playful mean now. And I think with that, if it's okay with you, we will end the scene.
Yes.
Thank you, player, for playing. Thank you, future watchers, for watching. This is another scene for Living World of Darkness, Rage Across New York.